And if you get this one right, I'll rustle up some extra moolah for you. Arrange these Sesame Street characters in order of fewest to most eyebrows. Bert, Ernie, the Count. Ernie, Bert, the Count. Bert, Ernie, the Count. The Count, Bert, Ernie, or Ernie. Ernie has no eyebrows at all. Bert has one long single eyebrow. And the Count has two. Two eyebrows! That earned you an extra $1,000. And yet, none of them have ever blinked. Let's try Duck, Duck, Swan. Say the cast of Duck Dynasty attends a performance of Swan Lake and thinks there are real waterfowl on stage. In their confusion, which character would they most likely shoot? Siegfried, Benno, Von Roth? Cue the swan song. Here's what a right answer looks like. Odette is a princess who has been turned into a swan, so the Duck Dynasty crew would probably fill her full of lead. Especially if they find out she once fooled around with a lady swan in college. 5 fingers! Here's one I like to call The Man in the Backwards Yellow Hat, and it's a dis or dat. I'm going to read off 7 things, and for each one you tell me if it's an alleged antic by pop star Justin Bieber, or an antic by the classic children's book character Curious George. If it's Justin Bieber, press the square button. If it's Curious George, press the circle button. Ready? Let's go. Peed in a mop bucket. Broke his leg falling from a fire escape. Arrested for falsely reporting a fire. At the house. Got high on ether. Fed a bugle to an ostrich. Went to a Brazilian brothel. Forget George, I'm curious how someone could do this badly. I think we can all agree that it's time for that little bastard to get deported. And then it's your turn, Bieber. That's the end of a thrilling first round, and your score is pretty much just fairly okay. Remember, in round 2, every question is worth double. And lest you forget, our wrong answer of the game is still out there waiting to be picked. Now get out there and make me proud. Up next, Dumber and Dumberer 2. So there's Dumb and Dumber, and then there was Dumb and Dumberer, and then Dumb and Dumber 2. Makes perfect sense. Now, going back a few decades, there was The Odd Couple and The Odd Couple 2. So, if another remake of The Odd Couple used the superlative adjective, it would be called The Blank Couple. Odd, odder, oddest, or odderest. What were you thinking there? Let me show you something. Odd is the adjective, odder is the comparative adjective, and oddest is the superlative adjective. But of course, everyone who made the original Odd Couple movies is dead, which means it's the perfect time for Rob Schneider to swoop in and revitalize the franchise.
Question 7. Get up and shake your monkey bang.
Next, let it go, let it go, let it go. At which temperature would Olaf from the movie Frozen melt and die? 30 degrees Kelvin, 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius, or 30 degrees Rankine? He's a snowman. 30 degrees is below freezing in Fahrenheit and insanely below freezing in Kelvin and Rankine. But it's pretty balmy in Celsius, about the equivalent of 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know, blah blah blah, he can magically be saved, but I'm talking about what would happen in the real world to a talking snowman.
Follow me down to the sea.
And now, Kangaroo, Peanut, Albert Einstein, or Uranus?
Kangaroo, Peanut, Albert Einstein, or Uranus?
spotted in 1879? Kangaroo, peanuts, Albert Einstein, or Uranus? That answer has a hole in it. It was begging to be picked. Albert Einstein was first spotted in 1879, the year he was born, probably by a midwife or something, over a century after Uranus was discovered and even longer after kangaroos and peanuts. I've heard baby Einstein cried a lot because he left behind some important equations on the uterine wall. Next up, wine or lose. If the Washington Redskins rebranded themselves with a non-offensive red-skinned mascot, what could they be called? The Washington Chardonnays, the Washington Malbecs, the Smart people choose this. Chardonnays, Pinot Blancs, and Rieslings are all white-skinned grapes, but the Malbec grape is red. Although to a connoisseur like myself, Malbec is very offensive. Oh yes, I do say that was quite a burn.